Hello everyone, and welcome to this guide on how to choose your trucks. So here are the chapters that I will go for. The first one will be about the width of the trucks because you want to adapt that with the width of your board. Then I'll go for the height because it will condition the size of wheels that you're able to use on those trucks. After that, I'll review a bit the kinds of innovations and materials that you can find, and we will try to understand what it's useful for. First of all, let's just quickly dismount a truck so that we can name the parts. So right now I'm taking off the kingpin nut, and so I can take off the top washer and the top bushing. I'm gonna also remove the hanger at the same time. So this is the hanger. This is where you basically grind, and here you will put the wheels. Under that, there is a bottom washer and a bottom bushing. The bottom bushing is more like a cylinder compared to the top one that was more like a cone. Here I have my base plate with the kingpin and the pivot cup. So the pivot cup is what is gonna stay fixed, and it's gonna make you able to turn with those trucks when you push on the side. Here you see, it's not straight anymore. And let's now focus on the width of the truck. So as I said, you want to adapt the width of your trucks to the width of your board. So those two would actually match, as you can see right here. Okay, so truck width sizes are a bit confusing because depending on which brand, they're gonna use different units, and they might even measure something that is different. Let me give you a quick example. This is a Thunder 147, and this is an independent 144, but the 144 is actually wider than the 147, so you can't really trust all of that. But we have made a pretty cool table that will give you the axle length of the trucks so that it is the exact same measure as the width measure of your board, so that it makes it all easy for you. You basically want your truck width to be the exact same width as your board, or maybe you can have 0.125 inches of variation, which is 1/8 of an inch. You would preferably have trucks that will be a bit thinner than your board, because if you have trucks that are a lot wider than your board, then they will carry the wheels, and the wheels have a lot of weight very much away from the center. So during flippy rotation such as this, the wheels are gonna make you feel like your setup is really heavy. Let's now talk about truck's height. Okay, so you want to adjust your truck height to the wheels you want to use, because if your truck is low, then you can't use too big wheels because they would touch the board too much when you turn. Because when you turn, you press on a wheel and it gets closer to the board. As you can see here, it happens sometimes. Alright, so brands of trucks will usually call the heights as low and high, or maybe it will be called low and standard, but there's usually only two sets of sizes for that. On low trucks, such as this Tensor, you want to use wheels that are not wider than 52 millimeters. If you want to use 53, you could, but you would need your kingpin to be very tight so that your truck doesn't turn too much. Whereas for high trucks, you can go for a little bigger wheels. I think you can go over to about 60 millimeters, and once again, if you get closer to 60, then you're gonna have to tighten your kingpin. Here's a 57 millimeter example. If on high trucks you use riser pads, then you can really use big wheels, almost longboard wheels. For example, that one. You could use it, for example, for a cruising setup or for a filming setup. But you would need to maybe resize the width of your board because those wheels are very large and they go even over the truck. By the way, what one brand will call a low truck is not necessarily the same height as what another brand will call a low truck. Therefore, we had to make our own classification for low, mid, and high trucks. Here, you will find a table in which we have the truck's height and also recommended wheel sizes. The height of your trucks is also gonna impact something very important during your skating, which is the distance that your tail has to travel to touch the ground. Here, if my truck was higher, then I would be something like here. So, how do you know if you want the distance of travel to be high or low? Well, if you're a very tall person, then you can have very high trucks because your legs are going to be big enough so that you can snap the tail on the floor while jumping. But if you have a very high board and a very small kid, then while jumping, there's no way he's going to hit the tail on the ground. Otherwise, you could be tall and wish to have low trucks for like quick snaps. It gives you a bit more control. But once again, I would say that is a bit specific to technical domain. I would say flat ground, wheelings, and some curbs. Nothing that goes too fast. It's now time to go over the different kinds of innovations that you can find on trucks. Okay, first of all, you need to know that trucks are the heaviest part of your setup. So, those innovations will mostly tend to reduce the weight of your trucks. As a note, you can always find the precise weight of the trucks on the product description on our shop. The first innovation that I'm going to talk about is hollow. You will mostly find that in product names. It means for the axle, for example, that it's empty inside. I'll just show you. And you have the same thing for the kingpin that can also be empty. You can find hollow axles in kingpin over most brands. I have examples of Indies here, Tensor here, and Thunder here. Other than having hollow axles in kingpin, producers can also change the material of their trucks to try to make it lighter. I'm not a professional of physics or I'm not a chemist, so I can't really deduce which material will do what better. But among skaters, it is commonly accepted that very heavy trucks, such as the very classic Independence, for example, will last longer if you grind on very crusty surfaces, such as a very bad street ledge or some pool coping. On the other hand, you could use trucks made of very light materials, such as the Tensor made with magnesium, but there's a higher chance that the hanger gets eroded faster when grinding. Although, if you only skate parks, then it's not a big problem because the metal ages would mostly save your trucks. This is the end of our episodes about trucks. Thanks a lot for watching and I hope you appreciate the content. Feel free to go over the description for important additional information. For example, there will be the table in which we put all of the axle length of trucks depending on brands and sizes. Other than that, we also made other videos for the other parts of your skateboard with similar guidance. You can find the links here. If you have any further question or doubt, just let us know, however you want.